Okay, hello.
Seems to work.
So that's the presenter. We have to check how this is working. Okay, so sounds good. Okay, so I'm Reiner Schmohl, product owner of the Bosch XDK. I have it here. Most of you already know it. Last year I already talked about that and how to scale up with that. And that's something what we also wanted to tell you what we see in upscaling that and what we do in Smart City. That is...
Hello, my name is Jonas Böttinger. I'm a project manager and also do some product management at Bosch BCDS. Same entity as Reiner is, and I'm talking about our experience from coming from high volume ideas into this market that we share together here. But later on.
Okay, so let's start. Okay, that's what we already had. We are here, we are Bosch. We want to contribute to the Things Network. We have our things over there. And we are just providing the whole IoT story with the T's. So we don't care about backend or something like that. We bring the T's in. Jonas, anything else?
Well, the people that don't know us should Google it. Sorry.
Sorry?
So the people that don't know us should Google us.
Okay, yes.
That's it.
Thanks a lot. Okay, yeah, that is how things are doing. That's the Swiss Army knife of IoT. We put all our MEMS sensors in. So there are 8 of them, and they can be used also now together with LoRa to get that additional connectivity and to find out what people really must have. So there is a difference to a normal evaluation board because you can see it. We already have a nice housing, and we are able to go into small series with that. That is the difference to the other evaluation boards. You need a housing to get the acceleration to the sensor itself on the board. That is one thing, and the other one is you have to have certification for that to really go into product, and that's what we can do with that. And of course, later on, we have to do a cost reduction. That's what we are talking then. That is the long tail. We are all looking for the front part, where the big numbers of connected devices are in these use cases, but I can tell you that's the wrong picture. The right picture is that one. That's how everything starts. It starts with one device on the desk of the developer, and you have to develop your business. That's what we learn. And we can do that with that guy. And so jump into the field directly because it is certified, and then come over these 5,000 pieces barrier where it is really worth to go to a dedicated device development. That's what we think. And that's what we can do. Take the customer, get XDK, and bring it to that level where we really can go to a dedicated device. That is our vision, what we can see in scaling up. That is something which we have already as a product. It's a very, very rough environment, so it's IP69K. It's for building site machines. There is a GPS tracker already in. So, and what we do is the same story like what we do in your smartphone. So if your smartphone sits around, then nothing happens. And we use the acceleration and the same algorithm to save energy in that device. So if the device sits around, then you don't need that much GPS fixes. And so we save a lot of energy. That's what we do. So you have a certain threshold to really switch from non-motion mode to motion mode. You have an automated hour counter for that. And this threshold can be done by your configuration. And then you can choose how many GPS fixes you really want to have, and that saves a lot of battery lifetime. That's what we do. And we have a magnetometer in as well, and we can use it for geofencing, for example, and shock monitoring. If you have an asset which shouldn't be treated like they often do, then you can also see it in the back end when something happened. Jonas, anything else?
Well, we had trying a lot of use cases with these guys, these little kind of devices, and we see that usually our idea of how such a thing is used is just a very poor one when we meet the first customers. We go out with an idea of this as a tracking device, and we see that it is used for tracking, but indoor navigation as well as outdoor navigation, as well as machine monitoring, as well as monitoring of a machine usage counter. And it goes further than we ever thought, because it is so strong that trade unions start charging us and say, hey, you shouldn't monitor so much in your use cases because we don't want to people monitor that work in the surrounding. What's the learning of this? And I think it's the next slide, yeah?
Okay. And of course, we have a LoRa connectivity in. Otherwise, it wouldn't be the right place to talk about that one. Good. Now,
Yeah.
Jonas, what about that slide? That was my slide. What,
Well, actually,
what
I
do you do
liked
with
it.
that one?
I liked it, and I decided to steal it, just from you. Reiner has described a little how we approach markets with the idea from coming from the desktop of somebody to the first use cases somewhere in the field, to the first 5 devices in some industry plant or in a farm, and then later go to 500 and 1,000 pieces. We as Bosch are a manufacturer of not 1,000 pieces, we are made for 100 million pieces, as was mentioned before. And so the focus of all of us is, of course, the high volume. We have learned that you can approach a market like this, and at the end you have more than 20,000 devices in the field with approximately the same amount of use cases and approximately the same amount of customers using that. On the other side, of course, for a device producer, it makes sense to go into a high volume because then you can concentrate on something that no one else can do. You can focus on some device, like in this case a parking lot sensor, and we have the backbone to put over 200 years of engineering into something like this to close the gap that no one else closes on the side. A city will employ an IT guy. A city will build a network. A city will pay for a network, will pay for services, will pay for a lot of things that we all offer in this room. But they're not closing that gap for a very, very good device that is high volume, ready, available, has the quality and the service behind. Nevertheless, we learn, because if not, we would die in our business, that even if you set up a device like this, that is available in a lot of regions in the world, the story that you go through with your customers is the same as Reiner described before. That's also why I stole your curve. It is the same. You think that you have a good device and you go out there and the solution is wonderful. And I've heard the last days, yesterday, today, yesterday in the evening a lot, yeah, you are Bosch, you have no problems because we're a small startup and you are a massive company. We're small, you're big, this is an advantage. It is not. It is not the size of a company or the size of an idea, or in a lot of cases, not even the craftsmanship that starts missing that thing that makes it successful. It's the speed. It is only the speed. And the speed is slow right now. Our experience is the same experience that I feel in the room when I look around here. It's the same that I hear outside there, is we need a first touch point with the customer. Then we have a very hard year to convince him to make a pilot. Then we wait another year until this pilot was successful and we have learned something. And then we will probably need another half a year until we go into volumes that finance what we did the last 3 years. And this is what we learned here. What you see here are real-life situations. If some of the guys on the pictures in the room, sorry, you get a beef from me later. First, you hang around with guys like us on parking lots and you fiddle around with things and glue on the ground and you install 10 pieces. And then you learn it works. The same customer comes back and says, I would like to equip a city center with parking lots. In the middle, this is a real thing. If you want to have details on that or solution, just visit our booth, and I can give you the information. This is a deployment in a city center in Eastern Europe, just some 100 sensors, but not much. And then years later, you go into what you're really interested in. These are the higher volumes, like this is in France, Le Trois Fontaines, deployment on the parking garages, or where they monitor a complete solution, a complete parking field, inside, outside, in the ground, on the top level of something. And to get there, the story is the same. So we are in the same business still. It's not the size.
Thanks for that, Jonas. Now I know what you do with my slide. Okay, so I think it's yours.
Yeah, this one's mine. I have the same answer as before. If you want to talk about technologies, visit our booth. If you want to know more about the sensor, visit our booth. If you want to know anything else, go to the website and visit the booth. If somebody's disappointed and leaving the room because we're not talking about details, if you want to discuss why narrowband micro radars are better not to drain your battery in a lot of ways and how to use them on a technical level, visit our booth. What I can tell about this is, well, it's standing there, robust, good algorithm, self-learning, no calibration, it's high volume available, it's self-adapting, you don't have to touch it, you can paint it if you want, you don't have to wash it, you exchange it after several years when the battery is drained, and the installation is absolutely easy. In the middle of the year, we will have prototypes with an in-ground variant available with the same set of features and the same performance. And to those who has ever used one, I think this is a good news.
Okay.
When I was talking about the size of a market, and I just want to underline what I mean with high volumes. On the left side, you see the markets that we are already in. Having deployments, having installations, having years of experience meanwhile. On the right side is what we are going to enter this year. And I'm not talking about a pilot, I'm talking about entering a market. With a sales force, with an on-site service, with people supporting that. And you can imagine how painful it is to go the journey for such a device with the structure for such a device. If you have interest in one of these regions, let me know.
Yes, that's now we come back to our title. What do we do with smart city? With that guy...
I decided to change that slide into let's make already smart cities happy. Because I'm pretty sure that there's no dumb city in the world, apart from Reutlingen maybe, where we are living.
Okay, as I said, what do we do with that, guys? That one anti-LoRa extension we are using for noise pollution and tracking that. The other one I throw off stage, that was the asset tracking device, what we have there for very robust design, as I already said. And then again, there is something with e-charging as well. What do you do with e-charging?
Oh, we're having the sensor in several use cases. One of the, I would say, leading use cases in Europe that is growing faster than we expected it is that the EV charging stations are monitored because they are at the moment based on funded project brought out and you can't make money with them. You can just lose if they're not utilized. And a lot of people found out that making a charging station is fairly easy because you can buy it on the market, but finding a sensor that still works in front of it is hard. And so this is one of the fastest growing markets that we have right now in our portfolio. Also because usually e-charging stations are one by one scattered in the city, and their LoRa is a great thing because the most of the solutions that are available with sensors that are equally good, let's say, are closed systems that you cannot bind into LoRa. You need your own gateway on site or a gateway of a system, and then later you have to buy your own data back. This one works pretty well because you don't have to do that.
Okay, thank you. So,
you might ask yourself, what do we mean with this? Because this is a bunch of buzzwords. Step on the stage, put this up, and say buzzword. What we have to learn, what I've learned in the last year stronger than before, is that an Internet of Things, and this is the dream that we all work on, not being a dream anymore, needs people working together on gadgets that start working together. It's necessary for all of us to keep everything that is not device-specific open source as much as we can. I say this as an employee of a company that is not known for open source software. But if you look at this device, you can freely work with it and do with it whatever you want because everything is open and available. Another one is, of course, you have to keep an open community. This is my appel to the TTN and TTI. Because a lot of people that I work with are a little afraid of losing the openness from time to time, and they wish to keep this community approach as long as they are in a business relationship with the TTI, for example, they are okay with paying for services, but they would like to have an open door to enter and to play around before they do that. And open minds is something good for everyone, because as I said before, what we have learned, it's not essential how big you are, it's not essential how sophisticated your logo is or how good your slides are. You see this in ours. It's interesting to each and everyone to keep an open mind, to let somebody that is faster than you are pass by, to help them, and to accelerate them if it is necessary or possible. And this is what makes this a great room full of people still believing in that. My message to you is, stay like this. Stay like this. Slideware, marketing, you have seen a lot of that. What we've shown you now is something that we told you not because we want to do that in the future or because we dream of something like this. It is reality. It is installed reality in thousands of little places all over the world when it comes to parking and 20,000 desks and other things. And this here is the example of the city of Herrenberg. The city of Herrenberg is quite unknown. It's a small city in the south of Germany, quite close to our office. And they have already solutions installed. One of them is yours, I think.
Yes, what they already do is they use track and trace solutions, and they are at the moment also under their way to do that with Tracy. You can see it there in the back end. That's what we do there. They use it for their lorries and trucks in their smart city. They want to know where it is. They want to know whether it's working or not to control their employees, just to know where they are and whether they can be optimized and whether they can move to other locations. That's what they do over there. And that is something which we, of course, have to do with an integrator. And the integrator, I think you know them better than me, but they're called Mascaro. And
yes,
they do it for us on base of our devices for smart city.
It's a local integrator, and that makes absolute sense because usually the integrators on site know what the city needs, speak their language, know their problems, know their structure, know the people have the contacts already, and they can give the best possible service. Also, the money that they earn stays in the city, which is interesting for a city.
That is the next one.
Parking. I don't want to go too deep into that. What they do is they monitor some places in the city center. They monitor some employee parking slots, and they have right now started monitoring some mobile home parking lot because they broadcast the availability of these places live in the internet, and they found out that people are more prone to drive there and to use this service when they know it's free.
And that one is also very nice with LoRa, and they can do it with XDK. They also using the same map and the same backend to do noise pollution tracking. So they want to know how loud is the place, whether they really have a problem over there. That is something which they really wanted to know, and that is possible with LoRa and the XDK to get there a noise map as well in Smart City Herrenberg, as we already said.
Yes, parking they do for more than a year already. Tracking they do for a while already, and this is rolled out while we're talking here. So it's live. Okay. Probably now. Jörg is a very fast guy in this respect. Well,
that's it.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot, and if you have any questions, let us know. We are here.
Thank you very much.